And welcome back, everyone, to Who Would Win. Today's Who Win comes to us from Lucas Rivera, who asks the age-old immortal question of who wins in a fight, Homelander or Akuma. Now, on paper, this is you'd think there might be like a clear victory here, but no, I feel like this is actually one of those much more evened out fights. I mean, we break it down, like skill, the strength, the ability, all outright. It is evened out to a pretty solid degree. If we're talking about what advantages Akuma is certainly the better fighter. 1,000%, no one's going to argue he's the better fighter. Beyond that, though, he's probably whoever's more ruthless is up for debate. I think Akuma does have a bit more of an honor code, though, so I might lean it towards Homelander for the more ruthlessness. But in terms of versatility with actual techniques in combat, that would still go with Akuma as well. He does have his version of the Hodoken. It's an energy attack. But beyond that, he can go into his Oni form, which is an ant form, and then also the Atsu Inohara, which could target Homelander's soul and annihilate him that way, which he shouldn't, in theory, have an answer for that. However, when it comes to the raw stats, speed, strength, durability, all that, I do feel like Homelander generally has the edge there. Apart from the fact that he can also fly and has heat vision and heightened senses, which Akuma, through training, has, but not to Homelander's degree. He also certainly does not have Homelander's level of speed outright if he's capable of, keeping up with A-Train, who's moving well over just raw speed-wise. He's moving fast enough that people are slowed down in his perception. And then durability-wise, it's said that the only thing that theoretically could have killed Homelander was a nuke. Now, obviously, in the comics, it was his own clone that did it, but a nuke, in theory, was going to be what did it. The question just comes down to, is Akuma capable of hitting him with the power of a nuke? And that's where it gets a little bit difficult to say. Raw strength-wise, too, he can't lift the plane, but he's got enough strength to, I think they said, lift like a 747 or something. He can lift a fighter jet, no problem. Because Akuma's strength varies on the interpretation. He does, however, have island level feats in terms of raw strength when you factor in that he's also amping himself as well. So do I think Homelander on raw strength is capable of decimating an island? We just never saw anything that kind of implies that. The Boys universe, as unique and as interesting as it is, it's not actually all that powerful of a verse, with Homelander and Black Noir's clone being the top dogs in it. Not to mention that Akuma can literally move so fast it looks like he's disappearing, which is similar to how fast Homelander can move. And you get a scenario where most of his standard attacks probably wouldn't do much to Homelander. Like, he could probably hit him, and Homelander might actually go, poof, wow, I kind of felt that a little bit. Interesting. Poof, just do that. And Akuma just, says, all right, now I'm going to get serious. And then they would go in and start fighting. Now, he'd also be able to amp himself with his ki and increase the power of those punches. Base Akuma is not going to be able to handle Homelander, I don't think. He might be able to stay alive, but he's not going to be able to handle Homelander. No, it's when he starts to take things seriously and really start to go into Oni form, all that the tides kind of turn in this fight. Because one of the things that's going to keep him alive in this fight, keep going, is the fact that he does still have relativistic speed to Homelander, and just is a better fighter. And the better fighter thing has to be important here, because that means he's got far better actually reflexes that have been honed. So even if Homelander is exceptionally fast and arguably moves faster than him, his actual reflexes can keep him alive in the fight, doing things like, grabbing him, throwing him around, just blocking. Your reflexes are actually move faster than your reflexes move a lot faster than your movement speed. How fast you can run, all that. You can move like I can't run that fast. No one can run as fast as they can react. And if you're a trained fighter, you've got pinpoint. I'm talking seconds, if not millisecond level reflex time. But there is a catch in this too. While he could survive any of the physical assaults, him surviving the heat vision would be a very different story. Because as durable as he is, he's still human. And that heat vision literally tears through humans like butter. But he can guard, he can use his ki, guard if he needs to. And especially if he's seen the heat vision once and can see it coming a second time. I think he could manage to block, survive, all that. It would be difficult for him, no doubt about it, but he could manage to do it. So really, it's less about can Akuma beat Homelander, and more can he just make it to his final forms and using the Satsui no Hara on him. Basically, the ability, can he kill a soul? Or can he deliver one of his strongest attacks, which is, island level, all that, which could seriously F up Homelander. Like, straight up, that would be a devastating hit for someone like Homelander to take. Homelander's not stupid is the problem. He would see that he's figuring things out, and he'd get pissed off and annoyed. It's like, all right, fine. And he might just start bombarding him with lasers from the ground. Beyond that, he can just stay in the ground, stay in the air too, to avoid any attack. Ugh. So, can Akuma last long enough? And by the way, if he hits Akuma, Akuma's in trouble. Like, I'm not saying you'd immediately kill Akuma, but Akuma is not as physically strong as Homelander in terms of raw strength base form to Homelander. Now, going all out, amping himself, all that does change the narrative, but base form to base form and just his normal physicality, I'd say it's a little debatable how strong he is comparatively. But if we're amping him all the way, like before we go into like transferring into Oni and all that, you could make an argument he could contend. You could make an argument he could contend physically, at least in terms of strength. Durability, that doesn't change. He's still squishy compared to Homelander. But that means if he is comparable in strength to Homelander, a hit from him would now hurt. And being a trained martial artist, he could deliver some doozy of hits. So it comes down to, again, can he last long enough? I think he can last long enough. It's just a matter of if he can get Homelander back within range. Because if Homelander's smart in this fight, he would just stay up in the air and just bombard him with lasers until he eventually tires out. But there is that little issue of his psyche and psychosis to deal with. I think in his inferiority complex, I do think Akuma could persuade him, let's say. He could goad him down. He could just attack his ego and just, Homelander would just have none of it. It's like, all right, fine. I'm going to kill you up close. Yes, up close. That's exactly what I wanted. This Satsui no Hara is mine. And Homelander done. I think it would be really knocked out. When it's in close quarters, it would be a really close fight. In the air, Homelander clearly has the advantage. He can just laser bombard him. Up close, it's close, but if he gets to his final forms, I think he would take the win. So, and because of that inferiority complex from Homelander, I do think he could get him within range of his finishing move. So I'm going to take Akuma in this fight, but this would be a fun fight to watch, honestly. I don't think Death Note would never do it simply on the grounds that they try to have characters that have something in common with each other. But who knows? Maybe if they're around in their 10 years, they'll just say, screw it, we'll do whatever we want. I mean, they kind of do already, but still, they do it off of requests. I digress. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.